involves in his life. And I want you to think about, as I mentioned the name, and the name is Solomon. That's who the Bible talks about beginning at 1 Kings chapter 2, and it goes all the way to chapter 11. For 9 chapters of those 10, it speaks very clearly about all the incredible achievements that this guy pulled off. Only 9 of the 10 chapters, okay? So let's just look, just quickly, for just a little bit here, okay? Chapter 2, I won't take too long here, I'll skip a lot of stuff, but I just want you to see, get an idea about what this guy was known for. 10 chapters in your Bible for this one guy. It says, when David's time drew near, David was his father, he commanded Solomon his son, saying, I am about to go all the way of the earth. Be strong and show yourself a man, and keep the charge of the Lord your God, walking in his ways, and keeping his statutes, his commandments, his rules, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do, and wherever you turn, that the Lord may establish his word that he spoke concerning me, saying, if your sons pay close attention to their way, to walk before me in faithfulness with all their heart and with all their soul, you shall not lack a man on the throne of Israel. Wow. This was the son of Bathsheba. Remember, I don't know if you go back in the story, okay? A wrong relationship, and here's the result, and this is Solomon. And God says to him in this chapter, David says to him, his father says to him, if you will follow God and you will do the things that God asks you to do, and you follow him with all of your heart, man, you're going to have a life like you can't even begin to imagine. And it goes on. It's absolutely incredible. In chapter 3, just flip over there just quickly. In chapter 3, I'm just picking up a few of them. It says in chapter 3, beginning at verse 3, Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and made offerings at the high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for there was the great high place. Solomon used to offer 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. And at Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what I shall give you. And Solomon said, you have shown great and steadfast love to your servant David my father, and because he walked before you in faithfulness and righteousness and uprightness of heart toward you, and you have kept for him this great and steadfast love, and have given him a son to sit on his throne this day. I mean, it all sounds great, doesn't it? And he says, and now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of David my father. Although I am but a little child, I do not know how to go out or to come in, and your servant is in the midst of your people, whom you have chosen, a great people, too many to be numbered or counted for multitude. Give your servant, therefore, here's what he asked. Give, therefore, an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil, for who is able to govern this your great people? And if it pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this, God said to him, because you have asked this, and you have not asked for yourself long life or riches, or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern what is right, behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I will give you a wise and a discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none shall arise after you. I give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that no other king shall compare with you all of your days. And if you will walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. Wow! He got not only what he asked for in wisdom, but he got all the other stuff that he never asked for thrown in on top. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You turn your life over to God, and you'll be known for something. You'll be known as a person who followed God. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know what that story all holds, but that story will be absolutely incredible if you will surrender and let God do what he wants to do in your life. So that's what he did. He got all these different things. In chapter 4, verses 29 to 34, there's all these different things. Even in chapter 4 and verse 7, he was given 12 officers. These 12 key guys in his all his regiment and all the different things that he had in his wealth and all the people and everything, all the riches that he had and everything. He was given 12 guys. I found this interesting. One guy was in charge of his food or all of his meals, and one guy had every month of the year to take care of. That's all he had to do. That was his job. Just take care of all the meals for the king and all of his entourage, and just take care of that meal for 1 month, and then kind of like get the 11 other months off. I don't know how it worked, but anyways, that's the way it was. Well, he had in chapter 4, it goes on and tells you all about that. And let's just flip along here because there's all kinds of different things that go on. And he builds a temple in 7 years for God. And then it's interesting, then he builds his own palace. And the palace actually took 13 years to build, almost double what the temple took. And he built walls around Jerusalem, and he did all kinds of incredible things. So then I asked the question, what's he known for? Was he known for all those things? And the answer is found in chapter 11. He did a lot of great things. But it says in chapter 11, the word, not but. The Old Testament here uses the word, in my version anyways, uses the word now. Now King Solomon, he loved many foreign women, along with the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, and Hittite women from the nations concerning which the Lord had said to the people of Israel, here's what God said, you shall not enter into marriage with them, neither shall they with you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Now I'm telling you, you can sit here tonight and you can make a real strong commitment and say like, hey, I'm all in. But I'm going to tell you, you can turn just like that on a dime and walk away from God. It's possible. And I'm going to tell you, in the day and age in which we're living right here in our North American context, we're seeing a lot of people walk away from God. And it's a different story in every person's life. But I'm going to tell you tonight, God asks us to surrender to Him to the end. And you know something? He will keep us in every way. They turned his heart away from God. And as you read down through this, it says here that he had 700 wives, princesses, and we can make all kinds of jokes about that, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. That's the issue. When Solomon was old, his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not wholly true to the Lord, his God, as was the heart of David, his father. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth goddesses of the Sidonians and all the different ones. So Solomon did what was evil in the sight of the Lord and did not wholly follow the Lord as David, his father, had done. Then Solomon built a high place and various things, and it says in verse 8, and so he did for all his foreign wives who made offerings and sacrificed to their gods. Wow. So here's a guy who rise to great fame, and he went right off the cliff and lost it all. You know, we're confronted here tonight, and listen, I appreciate what Pastor Steve has been saying morning and evening here this week, and if you've missed those messages, I don't know if they're being taped or not, but I'm going to tell you, they're powerful sermons from the Gospel of John. But there's a confrontation here tonight between light and darkness in all of us. And the people that we deal with in the Ukraine context through this war and everything, there's this continual battle between light and darkness that happens. And the church is right in the middle of this whole thing. You know, some people ask me, why the war? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Ukraine, long before the war took place, and even before 2014, when Russia came in and annexed all of Crimea and parts of the eastern flank of Ukraine, I was in Ukraine long before that. And I remember being there with some Baptist missionaries, another mission that I was on the board of. And I remember there, and I was walking through the streets of Odessa one day with him, and I said to him, so what's it really like to live here? We were living in this apartment down the street from him for a few days and dealing with some mission business. And I said to him, what's it really like to live here? So he says, I'll tell you. So he took me down to the port, and he showed me all the port and all the different things that are going on at the port. And it's a busy, busy place with all the grain and everything going on. And he says, you know something? He says, this is home of the mafia. I said, what are you talking about? He says, there's more corruption here in Ukraine than any other country in Europe. And he says, I'm going to tell you, he says, the lowest of the lowest live here. And he says, if you don't believe me, he says, try and get something in through these ports in Ukraine and see how much they charge you to get stuff through. And one of the first things that I had to do as a missionary when I became a missionary with Slavic Gospel Association was try to get some things through the port in Odessa. And I found out very quickly exactly what he was talking about. Because of the rate to get anything through the port, before I even paid the tax, I had to pay the black market, and the black market rate was over 20% of the declared value. And I thought, oh man, we got to change the way we do business around here real fast. And from that day forward, we never put anything more through the Black Sea port of Odessa. So as I think of those things, I think of the way that people think about us sometimes, and they think about us in our lives and how we do things. God wants us not only to start well, but he wants us to finish well. So I'll say this, the challenge for you and I is for total commitment and implicit obedience to the Son of God, but I'll add this, 3 words, to the end. So I would say this tonight, if you're going to make any kind of commitment to follow Christ, be careful. It will change your life. And God wants us to do it until the day we die. So I'm in this for the whole game. I just want you to know. I don't know where that's all going to take us right now, but I can tell you there's been a lot of different things happen in our lives. I can remember 8 years ago when I moved to Cambridge, Ontario from Cobourg, Ontario, where I was pastoring, and we had a half-acre lot, and we had a nice house, and we had a nice 2.5-car garage, and I had a nice workbench, and I had my riding lawnmower, you know, and I'd go around and cut my grass afterwards. Now, I know Pastor Steve, he pushes a lawnmower, but I had a riding lawnmower. I had a nice church member who had a little shop down the road, and he provided me a nice lawnmower free of charge for the whole time that I was there. Isn't that neat? Anyways, and so I had all those different things. And I remember when God came knocking on our door and said, now I want you to move. And I was like really, Lord? Like we're okay. I can do the drive. So for a while I did the drive back and forth, you know, from Cobourg to Cambridge. There's one problem with that. It's called Toronto. And the 407 was out of the question because it was way too expensive, and it's even more expensive now. And I did it for a while. And it was like God was saying, like, get rid of this house. It's okay, God. I'm doing fine. I'll do it. And I remember taking 4 hours to drive across one night from Cambridge to Cobourg, and I said, it's over. That's it. Let's put the for sale sign up, and we're going to Cambridge. So now guess where we live? We live in Cambridge, Ontario. And you can ask my wife. We are the proud owners of 34 feet wide of real estate. And the house is in there as well, okay? And you know, we have all we need. We have all we need. And you know something? God is asking us tonight to consider what we will do for him. And here's what I'm asking you tonight. I'm going to show you some pictures, 2 videos. I want you to think with me tonight about what you can be involved in. You know, there's all kinds of mission things that come, and you're going to get them every week of the summer here, and I get that, okay? So, like, if this doesn't tug your heart or touch you or whatever, that's your business. That's between you and God. I have no control over that whatsoever. But I will tell you that since February 24th in Ukraine last year, life has changed for millions of people. I mentioned, if you weren't here this morning, I mentioned that over 8 million people left the country. Many of them have left, and probably half of them or more have come back. And the reason being is because they found it so difficult to live in another country, in another language, in another environment, and they had absolutely nothing except one suitcase maybe of clothes with them, and that's all. I remember, I told them this morning, I remember driving down the road the first time I went in March after the war broke out in February, and I remember driving down the road, and we clocked at 5 kilometers long of people standing in line to get across the border. I didn't mention this morning, by the way, that the line of tractor trailers waiting in line, that line was 12 kilometers long. And the drivers we stopped and chatted with that were at the end of the line, and they were expecting to be there for at least 6 days. I said, like, I just, you know, I'm inquisitive. Where do you go to the bathroom? And they pointed at the bush on the side of the road, literally. So listen, there's people that are really hurting tonight, and we want to help them. And here's what I'm asking. You heard about the dam breaking down in Kherson in the southeast? Okay, so that's where we're focusing. And I got some guys. I just hired a guy on a contract basis, a young fellow. He's about 32 years old. He lives in Ukraine. Right now he's living in western Ukraine. And I met him a few months ago, and we've hired him. We took him on, and he's on staff with us just on a part-time basis, on a contract basis. And I said to him, I want you to be our eyes and our ears on the ground. So one of the things I said to him, like, we gotta think, like, where's the biggest need right now? What is it? What do we need to look at? And he said, well, I'm a little bit prejudiced. I said, okay, so what are you prejudiced about? He says, well, you know where the dam just broke? He says, that's where I used to live. And he said, if you want to see problems, like, you got to go and see this. Now, I'm going to tell you, there were hundreds of villages that were wiped out in hours. They were gone, okay? And you saw the pictures on the news, okay? It's very real. All that polluted water, all that, like, it's just, all the wells are completely gone. Everything, they've lost all the infrastructure. There are thousands and thousands of people tonight in southeast Ukraine along that river edge where that dam got blown up and they got flooded out. They have nothing. And guess what? Summer isn't going to last forever. And so we're starting to think ahead as a mission, and we said, okay, so what are we going to do? So I said to him, who do you know down there? Oh, you asked the right question. He said, I got all kinds of contacts down there. And so we've made connections with a number of churches in that area and places in that area, and here's the two things that we're going after tonight. We need water filtration. Okay, and we've got some people on the ground who have got some excellent contacts for getting these systems, anything from $75 up to $750 for these water filtration systems. And secondly, we found a guy in Warsaw, Poland, who was able to get us a connection, and we're going to buy 40 of these packets. They're just like they look like a little charger that you would use for you know, the jumping or little generator to add a little bit of power to your place, except these things are lithium batteries, lasting a whole lot better than most average batteries. They're a bit more expensive, but they last a lot better. You can charge these babies up for in an hour and a half and 90 minutes. They're fully charged, and they'll last for 3 to 4 days. And so we're pretty excited about that, and so I just put an order in the other day to buy 40 of those things. They're $750 a piece, okay? They're top quality. And so we're working right now, as I'm here today, we're working with a transport company and getting them across the border from Warsaw, Poland, and getting them without paying any duties or anything. You can do that if you have the right people and connections. And we're bringing those units into Ukraine as we speak in the next few days. And we're hoping to be able to get them down to the Kherson area. So that's our project. And anything you can give towards that's what we're going for. So I want to show you the first video. The first video, Aaron, is I gave them to you in the right order, and I want to show you this video of our warehouse in Warsaw, or just outside of Warsaw, Poland, in a city called Helm. And it's got all of the stuff. You can see the different ways in which we package stuff together and everything. So it's just a very quick video. Girls have to go? Where you go? Take off. Where you go? Okay. God bless you. Thanks for coming. Thank you, guys. Okay. Throw the video up, Aaron, for us, and it's got, I know there's an event coming at 8:30, so that's why I'm trying to hurry. I knew they were going to have to go. Go ahead and throw the video up.
Hello, my name is Ola. We are in Poland right now in the warehouse of Baptist Charity Action, a local partner of the Slavic Gospel Association. Just now we will be loading a semi-truck that will be sent to Kherson in Ukraine, where the dam has been destroyed. The water in that area has been contaminated, but thanks to your help we were able to buy 5 big tanks that will be sent to that area to store drinking water for communities there. We are also sending 31 pallets of food and hygiene products that will make about 3,000 packages to be distributed there through local churches. In addition to that, we are sending detergents to clean apartments, houses, and other places where the flood water has already lowered. Next week, we will send a whole big semi-truck with bunk beds for people who had to evacuate from flooded area of Kherson. We want to thank you for your support. All this is possible thanks to your help, which we are very grateful for. God bless you.
Opportunity. The need is going to be huge for quite some time, and that's kind of where we're focusing at this point. Now, I want to tell you just quickly 2 other things, and then I'll show you one more video, and I'm done. As we think about doing ministry and how we do ministry, and we were talking about this offering here tonight, there's ways of giving and that sort of thing with the QR code and everything. I have a guy who's 27 years old. He's one of my guys that works with us in all the tech area of things. You know what he said to me the other day? He said to me, he says, "Hey, Bill, we were talking at lunch and we were meeting. You ever heard of the guy, the app Flip? Anybody use Flip? Okay." So I was with the guy who created Flip the other day. I was having lunch with him, okay? He since sold it, and now he's a millionaire. But he created Flip, and his father's a big car dealer down in the Niagara area, and we were having lunch together and stuff. And the tech guy that I was with is friends with some of these guys, and he said to me, he said, we got talking about how to give a gift to different ministries and stuff, and he says, "You know, Bill, I've never written a check in my life. I wouldn't even know how to write a check, you know." And we have all these different generations, okay, that are out there. And I said, "No, come on, seriously, Isaac. You just fill out this little form, you know, that the bank gives you." "No," he says, "I don't even have any." He says, "I've never even used them. I wouldn't even know how to fill out a check, seriously." And he does everything online, okay? So there's all ways in which you can give online, that sort of thing. But we have some amazing partnerships. 5 years ago, we started praying for the orphan kids. And we asked God to give us an opening for the kids that graduate from the orphanages at 18 years of age. And we said, "God, give us a place where these kids could go and get some training and get a job and be able to," because we were giving them apartments and different things that we were helping them with. And jobs were the big issue. They couldn't get a job and to pay for things. And then we met a lady a little while ago. My wife and I, Judy, we met a lady in Toronto, and we had lunch with her, and we found out that she was the head of a company called Hebron Soft. I would encourage you, look it up online. They have a great website and everything. Hebron Soft. Hebron, and then Soft. No breaks, just Hebron Soft. And they've created what's called Hebron Academy. It's in Western Ukraine in Lviv. And we are now bringing kids from our orphanages who time out at 18 years of age, and we're bringing them to Hebron Academy. And over a 2-year period of programming, they get a brand new Mac laptop, okay? And they get all of what they need, and we put them in a dormitory, and we teach them all these life skills, but at the same time teach them how to become software people geeks who can work with computers. And you know something? God has opened so many doors you can't even begin to imagine. So for about $1,500 a child or a young person, we can put them through that school. Why? Because there's some people who have donated generously to create this place so that these kids could get trained. And there's some absolutely amazing things with that. And then there's one other, and that's a connection that we made. I think I told you last year. We made a connection with the school in Western Ukraine in Lviv. It's called UBTS, Ukrainian Baptist Theological Seminary. It went from 50 students 5 or 6 years ago to this past September when they registered, and they had over 2,000 kids register for school. I don't know of a school in Canada, a Bible school in Canada, that has that kind of growth, okay? But I'm gonna play a video tonight that was done at Easter by the president of that school. His name is Slav Pish, P-Y-Z-H. His mom and dad live in Etobicoke, and they're wonderful people who love the Lord. And you know something? What's Slav going to be known for? When I think of Slav Pish, I think of UBTS. And I think of the thousands of lives that he has had the privilege of changing, and I believe that's what he's going to be known for as he sticks with it to the end. And you know, that's where I am. That's where I'm committed, and I don't know where that's all going to take us, but I'm telling you, living this life for Christ is the most exciting journey I've ever been on. This is unbelievable, okay? And if you would have told me even 10 years ago that I'd be a director of a mission doing what I'm doing today, I would have told you, you are crazy, okay? Because I was quite happy being a pastor. Leave me alone. I'm doing my thing, you know? But here we are, and this ride has been absolutely incredible, and we're thrilled to be on it. We really are. I'm just encouraging you to join us. You heard some singing of some Ukrainians, okay? This school does some amazing things, and they got some tech people who do some incredible stuff. And all through COVID and everything, these guys got into doing all kinds of stuff online. And so I'm going to let Slav share his message. They've created 14, he says on here today, but it's actually 17 called We Care Centers all over Ukraine. And we're working with them as well and helping people all over Ukraine now in these We Care Centers. So if you want to give, I mean, we'll give towards that as well. But we're really focusing on Kherson tonight. And but I want you to enjoy this. There's a great song at the end. The words are at the bottom, okay, because it's all in Ukrainian. But the words the subtitles are at the bottom in English. And just enjoy it and be blessed. And then Ken, it's yours. Okay, thanks, guys.
Dear friends, greetings from Lviv, Ukraine. It's Easter time. Spring is back. Life is around. Sun is shining. Even in the midst of this war, even in the midst of all the atrocities that we are living through Easter and spring, God communicates His hope and future life. I would like to thank you, all of you, for being part of this journey with us. For more than a year, you have followed step by step, faithfully supporting all of our endeavors. I would like to thank you that you have allowed our students to continue to study, because your money was applied to your scholarships that almost all of them needed. I would like to thank you for helping us to establish our We Care centers. As of today, we have 14 of these We Care centers. Just in 1 second, imagine, 14 of them touching to more than 30,000 people every single month. All of that is possible because of your help and your commitment. I want to add another thing here. The evil that we're living through, atrocities that we're experiencing every day, sirens that we got accustomed to, all these bad things are not the end. Because God is not in the business of evil, but He's in business of redeeming that evil into something good. When I get on my knees, God reminds me always one thing, that through the biggest evil, He's capable to reveal His biggest love. And I want to share with you my hope and my prayer. And I hope that you will join me in that prayer. Our country is going through big evil. But my hope and prayer is that that evil will be redeemed for greatest good. And one day, our country will be like South Korea, where more than 30% of population are evangelical Christians. What started as evil, what started as war, could bring a tremendous spiritual revival in Ukraine when a lot of people will profess Jesus Christ as their Lord. And this is my hope, and this is my prayer. And I believe this is the whole meaning behind Easter. So please, join me in prayer with that. And you and I will witness a greatest miracle in Ukraine, when war would be turned into revival. Thank you for your commitment and your support.
Ти у яслах народився, ти до нас з небес зійшов, був обіцяний колись, прийняв тіло ти і кров. Побачив ти, Господь, мене, почув душі моєї плач.
Не міг спасти я сам себе від різних діл та злих невдач.
Христос воскрес, воскрес і я, і з ним до неба війду. Він дав мені нове життя, вже не служу я гріху. Там на Голгофськім хресті любов розп'ята була, але постала з пітьми, мене в цій світі знайшла. В цім світі знайшла. Наповнить серце твоє, весняним сонячним теплом, і стане впевненим твій крок. Христа пізнаєш ти любов.
Прийми хвалу, Господь, від нас, що в душі радість ти нам дав, що з нами ти є повсякчас, і як дітей своїх прийняв.
Христос воскрес, воскрес і я, і з ним до неба війду. Він дав мені нове життя, вже не служу я гріху. Там на Голгофськім хресті любов розп'ята була, але постала з пітьми, мене в цій світі знайшла. В цім світі знайшла. В цім світі знайшла. В цім світі знайшла.
Христос воскрес!
To Ben, sure, come on up. 3 others, come on up, and I'll have you folks hand out those